It's Finance Friday. We are joined by First Ontario's Chief Risk Officer, Mark Perkins. And today, we're diving into a viewer question. We'll start with Jim in Welland. By the way, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
Jim in Welland asks, with the complexity of choices for savings, growth, and income, is it best to have one advisor or a wealth management group?
So good morning, Rick.
Good morning.
And great question, Jim. You know, I end a lot of my Finance Friday segments with talk to a professional, talk to an advisor to take you through these big financial decisions. So he's kind of calling me out on that. It's like, that's great advice, but how do I go about it, right? You know, it's a highly personal choice who you work with. We've talked about the emotion around money and needing to work with trusted advisors. Mm-hmm. You know, there's an infinite list of people out there who would be happy to give you financial advice. Said a different way, there's an infinite number of people who would love to be compensated to give you financial advice. Right. So again, you've got to meet with a number of people. You got to start with, well, what are your needs? You know, are you shopping for a mortgage? Do you need a full financial plan that does budgeting, saving, and retirement? Do you need debt consolidation? Maybe do you have more sophisticated needs? Do you need a family trust or estate planning or tax optimization strategies? Mm-hmm. You know, again, once you identify your first need, then you can talk to a number of individuals. You know, don't just, you wouldn't do it with a car and take the first one. You wouldn't do it with a house. You know, these are big decisions. So you want to talk to people and make sure you have that relationship. You know, financial industry is highly regulated. So you may want to ask questions around education and certification. Mm-hmm. You may want to ask a question, have you or your company ever been reprimanded or fined by a regulator? Communication comes into it. You know, at what cadence are you going to communicate and how frequently you're going to get together. You don't want someone you give your money to that you never hear from or can't get a hold of. Yeah. Alternately, you might not want someone who calls you every week for no good reason, right? So there's a balance. Yeah. One of the questions I always ask is to an investment person is, how do you manage your portfolio? How do you manage your money?
And what are you expecting to hear back?
Well, I just want to know that they have a strategy, they're thoughtful, they take their own advice. Yeah. Like, you'd be surprised at how often in the industry there's individuals that don't do it. They're not financially responsible in themselves, mm-hmm. even though that's their profession, and other ones who take a completely different strategy than the ones they're advising. Interesting. So it's just to look for those inconsistencies.
Yeah. What about how advisors get paid? That's always a hot topic. How does it work?
Yeah, so that is probably one of the most important questions that I ask, because it's not about better or worse, it's about knowledge, so you understand their motivations. So what's become more popular these days is kind of fee-based. So I'm going to pay you a set amount, you're going to do map out a whole financial plan, but they don't do the investments, they don't do any of the execution. Mm-hmm. There's wealth management groups like the one Jim asked about that will charge a percentage of your portfolio, anywhere from 1% to 2%, to do your whole financial plan, and you know, they'll ask good questions and listen to the answers about your investment horizons, about your risk tolerance, your risk appetite. The other one is, you know, there are compensation commissions for product sales. So I'm not here to say better or worse, but those ones you have to be a bit careful of, because the motivation is for them to get you in a product, mm-hmm. and not necessarily give you the best advice. So, you know, the more information you have, at least you understand what's motivating the individual across the desk from you.
We have 1 minute. What other professionals are out there to get you to your financial goals?
Yeah, and again, so it's highly individual. Like, you can start with friends and family. We were just talking before that, you know, my investment advisor is a referral from a close family friend, mm-hmm. and I'm very happy with that. It builds that instant trust. You know, a financial planner is a certified role that can do retirement planning, debt consolidation, debt management, things like that. Not all advisors are planners, though. It's also tax season, so you know, your accountant knows the intimacy of your financial situation. They're also a good advisor. Yeah. So again, you know, you want to check those credentials. You want to understand what your needs are, and you know, talk to people. You know, the more information you have, the better decision you're going to make.
It's a great checklist and great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can send any finance questions for Mark or Colin by emailing financefriday@firstontario.com. If your question or topic is selected to be covered on air, you'll receive a gift card from First Ontario Credit Union. Thanks for joining us.